They laughed together, ruled Las Vegas together, and called each other brothers. But one violent night changed everything forever. Frank Sinatra crossed a line so dark, so unforgivable, that Dean Martin quietly erased him from his life without a single word of explanation. And for decades, nobody knew the real reason why until now. Before we dive in, if you're new here, kindly subscribe to this channel to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Just hit that button below. It takes 1 second and means everything to us. Now let's get into it. The man the world came to know as Dean Martin was born Dino Paul Crocchetti on June 7, 1917, in Steubenville, Ohio. His beginnings had nothing to do with tuxedos or martini glasses. His father, Gaetano, was an Italian barber working long, exhausting days. His mother, Angela, was a fierce, strong-willed Italian-American woman who held the household together. English came late to young Dino. Confidence came even later. With little money and big dreams, he found an unlikely outlet, the boxing ring. At just 15 years old, he was throwing bare-knuckle punches under the name Kid Crochet. He couldn't afford tape or proper gear. The scars stayed with him for life. A broken nose, a split lip, and a body built by hardship. He liked to joke that he lost nearly every fight. But the real truth? He kept standing when most wouldn't. That resilience defined him long before Hollywood ever noticed him. When boxing faded, Dino drifted into New York, sharing a cramped apartment with fellow dreamer Sonny King. They were so desperate they charged onlookers to watch them box bare-knuckle in their own living room. He also worked in an illegal gambling den tucked behind a tobacco shop. Survival by any means necessary. But through all of it, one thing never left him: his voice. Singing under the name Dino Martini, he performed with local bands and shaped his style after smooth, elegant singers he admired. His break came with the Ernie Mackay Orchestra. By the late 1930s, that warm, velvet voice was already turning heads. Then in 1940, bandleader Sammy Watkins gave him 3 words of advice that changed his life forever. Change the name. And just like that, Dean Martin was born. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this story, kindly subscribe to this channel. We're pushing toward 10,000 subscribers, and your support literally makes this possible. Subscribe now and let's build this community together. Back to the story. By the mid-1940s, Dean Martin was grinding through smoky New York clubs night after night. He had the voice, the charm, the looks, but Hollywood kept walking away. Then, in August 1944, while performing at the Glass Hat Club in the Belmont Plaza Hotel, Dean met a wild, explosive young comic named Jerry Lewis. Their chemistry was instant. Their official debut as a team came on July 24, 1946, at the 500 Club in Atlantic City, and it nearly destroyed them. The audience sat cold and silent. Not a single laugh. Given one final chance by the club owner, they threw out the script and trusted instinct. Dean sang with smooth confidence. Jerry erupted into beautiful chaos. The crowd exploded. From that night forward, Martin and Lewis were unstoppable. They conquered clubs, radio, television, and film. They had their own radio show. They landed a powerful film deal. Fame, money, creative control, all of it came fast. But beneath the success, something quietly cracked. Dean felt boxed into the straight man role while Jerry soaked up the spotlight. The friendship strained under the weight of ambition. On July 25, 1956, exactly 10 years after their rise, the curtain closed for the last time. But Dean Martin was far from finished. If anything, he was just getting started. We're halfway through this incredible story. Don't go anywhere. And if someone shared this video with you, kindly subscribe to this channel. We're on a mission to hit 10,000 subscribers, and every single one of you counts. Okay, back to Dean and the most dangerous friendship in Hollywood history. By the late 1950s, Dean Martin had fully bloomed as a solo star. His voice aged like fine whiskey, warmer, smoother, more powerful. And standing nearby, glass raised, mischief in his eyes, was Frank Sinatra. The two had crossed paths earlier, but it wasn't until 1958, while filming some Came Running, that their bond truly locked into place. Mutual respect became deep friendship. And that friendship became something the world had never quite seen before: the Rat Pack. The name wasn't their choice. It had belonged to an earlier Hollywood circle. Dean, Frank, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop preferred calling themselves the Summit or the Clan, but the public decided the name stuck. At the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas, their shows weren't performances, they were events. Dean would croon mid-song. Frank might interrupt mid-verse. Sammy would dance circles around everyone. They stood in tuxedos with martinis in hand, trading insults like brothers who knew every weakness and loved each other anyway. But beneath the swagger lived something deeper. When faced with segregation, Dean and Frank quietly drew hard lines. They refused to perform at venues that excluded Black or Jewish entertainers, even when it cost them money. In an industry built on silence, their actions spoke loudly. This story gets even heavier from here. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. Kindly subscribe to this channel before you forget. We're chasing 10,000 subscribers, and you could be the one that pushes us over the line. Subscribe now. Let's keep going. For all his Hollywood legend, Dean Martin was, at his core, a father. He had 8 children, but one held the deepest place in his heart: his son, Dean Paul Dino Martin, known as Dino. Born from his marriage to Jean Beager, young Dino carried his father's charm but added his own relentless drive. He sang, acted, competed professionally in tennis, and then stunned everyone by becoming a fighter pilot with the California Air National Guard. Then came March 21, 1987, a routine training flight over California's desert. Dino's jet vanished from radar, swallowed by clouds and silence. The search was immediate and desperate. Even President Ronald Reagan, a close personal friend of Dean, ordered advanced military resources to assist the search. Back in Beverly Hills, Dean Martin unraveled. He paced the floors. He chain-smoked. He prayed. He turned to psychics, anything to find his son. One psychic pointed directly to San Gorgonio Mountain. 3 days later, the wreckage was found scattered across that very slope. There were no survivors. Dino was just 35 years old. Something inside Dean Martin shattered that day and never fully healed. The sparkle left his eyes. Friends saw it immediately. The king of cool was replaced by a man hollowed out by grief. Frank Sinatra, ever the optimist, believed work could save him. He invited Dean on a massive reunion tour, hoping the stage lights and crowds would bring him back. But it only made things worse. Dean forgot lyrics. Jokes fell flat. What once looked like charming looseness now felt like raw sorrow bleeding through. One night, after a devastating show, Dean simply walked off, shut his hotel door, and flew home without a word. The tour continued without him. The magic never returned. We're almost at the truth. The real reason Dean walked away from Frank forever. Before we get there, kindly subscribe to this channel. We're working hard to reach 10,000 subscribers, and your subscription is the greatest support you can give. Hit subscribe. Now here's what really happened. June 7, 1966. Dean Martin's 49th birthday. The setting was the Polo Lounge at the Beverly Hills Hotel, a room built for power, legends, and quiet authority. Dean had every reason to celebrate. His career was at full throttle. But the night would end in a way he could never forget. Frank Sinatra, then just past 50 and romantically involved with 20-year-old Mia Farrow, was at the table along with actor Richard Conte and Sinatra's enforcer, Jilly Rizzo. As the drinks flowed, the Rat Pack spirit took hold, louder, looser, more unruly by the minute. A few tables away sat Frederick Weissman, a respected businessman quietly enjoying the evening with a family friend. After enduring the growing noise, Weissman politely asked the group to lower their voices, noting that women were present. What happened next has never been fully settled. Accounts vary. Some say Sinatra felt mocked and exploded. Others describe insults, shouting. A heavy pink telephone hurled across the room. Bodies collided. Chaos erupted. What every account agrees on is this: Frederick Weissman hit the floor, unconscious, surrounded by broken glass and overturned furniture. Sinatra's entourage moved him out of the hotel before police arrived. Weissman was rushed to hospital with a fractured skull and fell into a coma. That same night, Dean Martin came home early and unusually quiet. His daughter was surprised to see him. When she asked what happened, Dean simply said that Frank had lost control, that he could never let things go. Weissman survived. No charges were ever filed. But for Dean Martin, something was permanently broken. He had always been a private man, gentle off stage, devoted to family, deeply uncomfortable with violence and chaos. That birthday night showed him a version of Frank Sinatra he could no longer accept. Afterward, the calls stopped being returned. The friendship didn't explode. It simply faded. Quietly, permanently, and Dean Martin never looked back. And that is the real story, the truth that stayed buried for decades. If this video moved you, educated you, or even surprised you, kindly subscribe to this channel. We are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and your support means the world. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and share this with someone who loves old Hollywood. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.